Hey, what's up, guys? In the works, and we were playing. Yes, pause for effect. Medal of Honor 2010. That game that everyone loves to hate. That game that was really awesome when it first came out, and just kind of teetered off quite quickly and didn't really have a very long lifespan. But we're going to be talking about some Warfighter today because there's been the beta's coming up, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the beta and my anticipation for it because I am really looking forward to it. Now, before we get into all that, I do want to give you guys a heads up. It appears the beta for Medal of Honor Warfighter will be releasing on Xbox Live on October 5th. Now, that isn't confirmed. This was basically said by Major Nelson on his weekly podcast. So take it as you will. He's usually pretty reliable, considering that he's in the know of anything Xbox Live related. So it looks like Friday is when the beta will drop. Now, I'm not a fan of weekend betas like that. I prefer a week-long beta where it starts on like a Tuesday and goes to the next Tuesday. I think that gives more people a chance to play because if you're like me, I actually play more during the week than if I'm playing. Ooh, that was some bad shooting on both our parts, but luckily my M9 finished him off. I honestly have more time to play during the week than the weekends because I'm usually a lot busier on the weekends. So that leads me into my next point. How long we think this beta is going to last? I can see them making it a weekend-only beta because, the game is almost out. But I don't really think that gives them much time to really deliver any stats or stuff like that. They're trying to get 3 million downloads for the Warfighter beta. That's going to be pretty difficult if you're only out for a weekend. So I'm interested to see how long that thing sticks around. So October 5th. But if you're like me, your interest in Warfighter has been a roller coaster because when the game was first released, I did a Medal of Honor 2010 video talking about, oh, here we go again, same old, this doesn't really pique my interest at all. And I was actually pretty cynical about it, and I thought about that, and I was like, man, that was really just dumb on my part because, I always pride myself in giving games a chance, and that's why I'll be giving Black Ops a chance. A lot of you guys are cringing right now, but then more info kind of came out of the woodwork about Medal of Honor Warfighter, and the more I saw of it, the more I started to like it. Well, then I saw some alpha footage, and I maybe got to fool around with it a little bit, maybe not, and I started to think about the gunplay seems a little bit weak. And then after that, I saw more footage. I saw some later footage. I saw the PAX footage. And I was like, okay, this is going to be a solid game with the potential to be a great game. So my interest in this game is very, very high right now. My anticipation for it is quite high as well. And I'm really looking forward to giving this game a fair shake. Because if there's one thing this game right here lacked, it's longevity. This game's lifespan was very small. If you go onto a PC... this PC server browser right now, you might find 5, maybe 6, on a good night, maybe 8 servers running games, and it's not always that they're even going to be populated. So there's a lot of people that gave up on this game quite quickly. It did come out in 2010, so by the time Warfighter releases, this will be a 2-year-old game, which is pretty long for a first-person shooter in this day and age. Back in the early 2000s, the late 90s, a first-person shooter would last 3, 4, 5 years, with maybe the exception of like Team Fortress or Counter-Strike, because those give mod support. They're really highly supported, and a lot of developers don't really do that with games now. Instead of supporting games, they decide to release new ones, and that's kind of a bummer, but I think this game is one of those games that you really did need to release a new one, because there were a lot of flaws in it, and I've talked about that many times in Medal of Honor Warfighter, or 2010 I should say, videos. But for the most part, Warfighter looks like it's going to be a solid title, and I'm really excited for it. I'm ready for something different. With Warfighter coming out in the fall, all the new games, Halo 4, Battlefield 3 DLC. We're going to get Aftermath in December. There's going to be plenty on our plate, so I think there's going to be a lot that Warfighter is going to have to compete with. It's going to be a very jam-packed schedule. It's going to have to compete with Assassin's Creed, all sorts of awesome single-player games. There's even going to be Borderlands DLC, so they'll have to compete with that. So there's a lot of variables that are going to go in to whether or not Warfighter is a successful game, and I'm really interested in their execution because that's really what killed this game. The DLC for this game was lackluster, didn't really renew any interest in the game. But I think this game has a lot going for it, considering that, well, Medal of Honor series in particular, the score chain aspect of the game is unique I mean, I know a lot of games have adapted it now, but they haven't adapted it on the scale that Medal of Honor had in the first game. So we'll see. We'll see. I think that these games have a lot of potential to be a solid fill-in title for people who are looking to bridge the gap between maybe Battlefield and COD. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think this is going to be a game worth playing? Are you interested in the beta? Will you guys be checking it out for you Xbox people? I know I'll be playing quite a lot of it, even though it isn't on PC. I'm going to pick the controller back up and get a feel for things, but let me know in the comments whether or not you're excited for the Warfighter beta, and it looks like it'll be on Friday. But if you missed any of my last videos, now's your chance to catch up. We did do a Battlefield 3 showdown on Friday, so if you missed that, it was a tank destroyer versus the main battle tanks. And I also did a video talking about the Aftermath DLC and what we should expect. So check either of those out, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.